Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Crazy Central. I can barely keep my eyes open. I have never been so tired of watching a debate before it started. But yeah, so my hair is like, I look like I have bedhead. I'm exhausted. I'm on Periscope. Yeah. I just said on Facebook I'd be over here on Twitter. So that was something, huh? We did get more debate of ideas, I guess. Much more substance. We got a lot more substance tonight than we did last Monday, right? We'll give it that. However, my last tweet was, I think, has Mike Pence had to compromise his beliefs as much as since his freshman year at college when he found his evangelical calling, right? Has he ever had to compromise his beliefs? I mean, I really felt the sincerity, all seriousness, felt the sincerity about his pro-life belief. And I'm very moved by it. You know, I always say I'm pro-choice politically, but I'm more of the Tim Kaine camp. I don't believe I should have anything to say over a woman's choice in that matter. I totally respect, though, Mike Pence's stance on it, because I think when people really do go sincere like that, it was completely from the heart. There was no rhetoric there. However, do you really believe for a second that Donald Trump is pro-life? I mean, I'm just assuming that he's had kids aborted over the time, or people that have been stuck hooking up with him, just to get ahead in the Trump Foundation, being a friend of Roger Ailes. I'm just assuming this crap happens. In order to, I'm assuming there were kids of his aborted, and at least one or two we wish were. So, which is a horrible thing to say. I understand. I'm exhausted. It's a horrible thing to say, something like that. But generally speaking, this debate reminded me of like a really bad improv class. I teach improv, and you get three people on stage together, and they just all talk over each other. Hey, I want to talk. Now I want to talk. I want to talk. Nobody's listening, right? So it's like a bad improv scene. Everybody's talking, nobody's listening, and everyone's interrupting each other. I felt at times bad, really bad for the moderator. There's something we called male-prov, right? At least Kaine did it with a smile. Kaine did it with a smile, although Kaine did it more often. Kaine started it, and I think he did it more often. So I think Kaine, here's what I would say, initial snap results, if you don't know facts and you weren't following a fact checker blog, I would argue Mike Pence won that debate. All things being equal, I would say Mike Pence won that debate. And the problem is most people are not going to take the time to really do the fact checking or care, right? Because they barely spend enough time watching the debate. But I have seen every single video that Tim Kaine was referring to that basically shows exactly what Donald Trump has said. If you haven't seen them, you probably don't watch a lot of 24-hour news. I watch too much. However, because I do, I've seen a lot of tape. On both sides, right? There's a lot of evidence for all the stuff that Donald Trump has said. Who knows what Donald Trump really believes, because he said so many things. Now, maybe he said something different a week later, or a year before, or 2 years before, or 3 weeks later, a month later, because he said so many different things. But how can, on the same level, Mike Pence say, oh, I am proud to be with Donald Trump, pro-life? He's not pro-life. He says he's pro-life this year because he's running as a Republican for president of the United States. He's done some soul searching, and his soul searching says, I want to be a winner, so I'm going to tell you idiots exactly what you want to hear. I'm sorry, and I'm not calling you an idiot because you're pro-life. I'm not calling you an idiot because you're alt-right. I'm calling you an idiot for buying, yes, the piles of shit that Larice just tweeted, or whatever they call it, commented. Yeah, you're buying his shit. And hook, line, and sinker. And I know Pence is better than that, but he's like the little piss boy. You know what I mean? He's just like the stable boy or the cabin boy. Like he just, yes sir, let me bend over and take it like a man. And this is a guy of real principles. And I think I think Chris Hardball right there said that Mike Pence just kind of made the play. This is your president from the presidential nominee for the GOP in 2020, pretty much, right? And I would not disagree with that, because I think what you did get from Mike Pence, like it or hate it, from what he says, you got a very good representation of where the GOP really is, right? Mike Pence is a pretty good example of the mainstream GOP, and not in a horrible way. Like, I think Mike Pence actually showed he looked more presidential than all four of them tonight. Mike Pence did. I really did. Than all four of them do. Tim Kaine, I don't love Tim Kaine. I like Tim Kaine, but there's a little snarkiness there, right? I think Mike Pence is a very sincere dude. I don't believe in a lot of stuff he believes. I really believe he's way too far right for me. I'm more centrist. I think I'm right of center. Most current GOPers would say I'm left of center, because I still like Hillary over Trump. I don't know if I'm a never Trumper. I still wouldn't vote for Mike Pence, but Mike Pence is the kind of Republican that I'd be comfortable voting for Gary Johnson, right? If Mike Pence was the presidential nominee right now against Hillary or anybody else, I would feel safer about voting for Gary Johnson as a protest vote against this horrible two-party system. And I am not the two-party system is bad. The current two-party system with these two parties, with the people that are in charge of these two parties, that are just completely power-hungry, saying what you want to hear, not fixing a darn thing, lying to each other, lying across the aisle, and getting nothing done for 16 years now, right? It's really almost 16 years they've gotten nothing done, except start wars that bankrupt us and send people to die. That's pretty much the only thing they've come together on. And a few other things, maybe, right? He supports Trump and denies his horrible comments, right? And I think the one thing that Mike Pence did do tonight that might hurt him, there were a lot of times where Tim or the moderator said, your candidate has said this, or has done this, or supports this. Do you defend that? Do you support that? Are you on the same page? Can you explain that? Because Trump hasn't. And every single time, Mike Pence, well, Hillary, oh, why are we talking about Trump? Because Hillary's done all this stuff. He says, yeah, we know what Hillary's done. We know Hillary said deplorables. And again, the next day, she was sorry. The next day, I'm sorry, yeah, a lot of Republicans are deplorable. A lot of Democrats are deplorable. You know, it was a horrible thing to say. It was stupid to go after the supporters, but the people that she's talking about, people like me who are on the fence, know exactly who she's talking about. So I'm sorry. Hashtag deplorables describes a good portion of Republicans, right? And I don't care if you're talking about the deplorables that are the total bigots, or the deplorables that look the other way, or the deplorables that are just completely ignorant to the fact that they are surrounded by deplorables, and then the deplorables that are not necessarily bigoted. They may or may not be bigoted, but they're happy to keep the power by using the deplorables to vote for them and catering to them some pretty deplorable things and keeping them in power, right? Instead of like doing what's best for the country, what's best for the better humanity. Yada, yada, yada. And I'm not even saying, pro-choice abortion. You could go down the list of things where there are things that are said and done that make no sense. That, the whole Republican Party is hijacked by deplorables. I'm sorry. Tea Party. 50% of the Tea Party are deplorables, right? But complete denial that they are using the white power crazies to get votes. Yeah. Complete denial. And to the point where they even say, we don't want them in our party. We don't want them. We don't want them. We don't want them. It's okay. We have to say that. We don't want them. It's okay. Vote for us. Vote for us. Please vote for us. But we don't want racism in the GOP. But it's okay. It's like, just don't hang anybody. Don't burn any crosses. We'll look the other way. So sketchy as fuck. Okay. Was that a typo on purpose? All right. J instead of a K. So, sorry, my segment producer, Larice, over here has helped me out, keep me on track. So, there was a bunch of fact-checking things that I thought, just to kind of wrap this up If anybody has any up there, one of my favorite lines, and I actually just fell off of the. What do you call? I think what Pence said is, "There you go, whipping out that Mexican thing again." And all I could think of is like a tiny penis joke. I mean, not that all Mexicans are short, just the Mayans. But sorry, and I don't sound like a Trump. I don't want to build a wall, but it's an old joke. Blah 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 blah. I'm just being an ignorant white guy here. So not even meaning to be racist, but in my head that's where I went, because we are all a little bit racist. If you don't believe me, go see Avenue Q. But all I could think of is like he's making a tiny penis joke. You're whipping out a Mexican. What did I say? There you go, whipping out a Mexican again. And I forget the exact words, but oh my God, I went. I just almost fell out of my seat because it was so hilarious. And I don't know if it was meant to be that funny. I know there's a few times where Mike did the Reagan thing, says, "There you go again." Oh, wait, that's Clinton. Well, there you go again.
Trump said Mexicans are racist. Pence, you whipped out that Mexican thing I have.
Yeah, you whipped out that Mexican thing again.
You whipped out that Mexican thing again.
You whipped out that Mexican thing again. Says, "How dare you?" So, I'm really going down the rabbit hole. I am sorry. That was really in a quote. So, the very first thing Mike Pence said, it's not so much like a debate fact checker thing, but the very first thing he said is, "I'm really glad to be here at Norwood University." They were actually at Longwood University. And so, not a good start, Mike. That I don't know. That was very Sarah Palin-esque, right? Build that bridge to nowhere in Indiana. What is that? Let's see. He also said Barack Obama has raised more taxes to extraordinary levels. Not necessarily. With this Congress, that wasn't going to happen. It couldn't happen. So it's not really happening. And, maybe you should just stay away from the tax issue with Donald Trump right now. We kept going back and forth on that. What was the Korean exchange? Best line for the moderator, we'll give you 30 more seconds, but remember this question was about Korea. And they kept going on about taxes and emails. And remember, this was a question about Korea. There were at least 3 times, I think, where Mike Pence started, "Well, that's a great question," which is always code with, "Oh, fuck, I got nothing. Let's talk about the emails." And every single time, never talked about it, right? Avoided some stuff, foreign policy. I really expected Mike Pence to be better on foreign policy. He was 10 times better than Trump. But if Trump is going to be so shitty on everything, and I'm not even saying from the stances, I mean lack of stance, lack of education, outside of the business world, lack of pretty much everything. Yeah, we get the trade issue, okay. And you might be right on the trade issue. I don't know the trade issue well enough to debate you on the trade issue. But if you're going to be so gosh darn ignorant on everything else, you really need a vice president who isn't. And I really was hoping for more from Mike Pence. I don't have the video footage here. It's online. Even if you hate MSNBC, watch MSNBC for like an hour, and they'll show you all the footage of Trump saying these horrible things. I'm sure Fox doesn't repeat them as much. Or just listen to Fox and Friends tomorrow morning when Donald Trump calls up and defends things that were said about him. Which he does daily, which just blows my mind because, he's losing. If Donald Trump loses this thing, in many ways, this whole election is Hillary Clinton's to lose, right? This whole election was Hillary Clinton's to lose in many ways with Donald Trump. But Donald Trump, with all that, has figured out a way to just kind of, or maybe it maybe has nothing to do with him. The hatred of Hillary Clinton is such that somebody like Donald Trump actually could win. And if he doesn't win at this point, I about a week ago, before the Monday debate, it really kind of was Donald Trump's to lose. He was creeping up there. It wouldn't take much. There's so much lack of enthusiasm for Hillary. But the more you talk, I mean, it's just so easy. Every time this guy opens up his mouth, even the PTSD thing, I hated the way the media and the left went crazy with that today. It really was not that big of a deal, but it wasn't perfect. You know what I mean? Like that, to say that it wasn't a big of a deal, but at the same time, the PTSD thing, was one of Trump's better moments. That's why I was like, we're getting on him for he wasn't attacking veterans. He really wasn't doing all this stuff that Joe Biden was saying he was doing, or Biden if you're Palin. That was the funniest thing I learned today. The people from McCain's team, the Republican strategists, they used to work for McCain, Palin, saying the reason she had to say, "Can I call you Joe?" because she can't say Biden without the letter O. Oh, Biden, oh, Biden. So that was hilarious, right? So, Trump was quoted out of context with the PTSD, and I watched the video over 5 or 6 times. I have to say, that was actually one of the better times I've seen Trump not look presidential, but almost look empathetic, or not pathetic, empathic. He had empathy, right? He seemed to have empathy. He may have said the wrong word. We've all been there. That's the kind of thing that, even if he did say the wrong word, that's the kind of thing where you could use the Pence line. He's not a career politician. His words, he gets caught up in words and stuff. But that was one of his, not so bad moments. Like one of them. All last week, nothing but bad moments. Nothing but bad moments. What's he going to do when he gets in the room with a German chancellor who is a woman? What is he going to do? Or maybe he could send Ivanka. I'd vote for Ivanka. She's great. Not the other two. They're butt heads. But, Junior and Eric, scary dudes. Real scary dudes. Not in a good way. I love that. They call him, American Psycho. It was hilarious. I think that was Bill Maher. But, yeah. I'm ready to watch Flash and Gotham and a few other things. I'm ready to wrap this up. But, I do think this was what we were looking for tonight. This was a little bit more of a debate of ideas. It was clearly not a presidential debate. It was definitely like the kids' table debate. Almost like the kids' table debate from the Republican primary, right? These are the B players. These are the scabs. But I think at the same time, either one of these guys, God forbid, something happened to either one of them, I don't think either one of these guys hurt their candidate. Nobody's going around saying, oh my gosh, if I vote for Hillary or if I vote for Trump and they do die for other reasons, because they are pretty old, this is what's going to happen to them. I'll finish with what I started with when I heard that they were sitting at a table. We got 3 presidential debates, and I think all 3 of them, there's the older cats, the almost 70-year-olds and the 70-year-olds have to stand the whole 90 minutes, while the 58-year-old vice presidential candidates were sitting the whole time. And these young whippersnappers, as I said on Twitter, are, excuse me, I'm sorry, this whole debate is wearing me out. I'm going to bed. Peace out, guys. I hope you guys all had lots of drinks. I follow my Twitter feed. If you didn't drink at all tonight, you're probably already asleep. Kane is cool and smiley. He smiles, but, and again, let's be fair here, fair and balanced. I'm as fair and balanced as can be. Kane smiles, and it seems, I don't want to say it seems fake, but it seems practiced. He goes down, he writes, he looks up, he assesses the situation, and then smiles. I do like Kane. No, and I like Kane. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying it's put on. It is genuine. It's coming from a genuine place. But I think there's almost like a false softness to Kane, if that makes sense. I don't know how to put it. There's something about him that it's not a lack of trust. I think he's a great guy. I think he's almost Al Gore-ish a little bit. Not as bad. Much more likable than Al Gore. But the way Al Gore had a way, like Al Gore was more stiff. I think Tim Kaine does it better. But there's a sense that he's doing the character of Tim Kaine. You know what I mean? Like I'm performing. He's very soft spoken about it, so it doesn't come off as showy. But it's almost like I know a lot of actors, and actually sometimes I do auditions and I haven't prepared, and I don't really have connection to what I'm saying. It's minor. It's so minor. We've seen a lot worse. In that sense, that's why I think I really like Mike Pence, all things being equal, as a better debater. I think Mike Pence has a lot more empathy for the debate process, if that makes sense. I think people watching this that are Trump-Pence fans are going to say, Kaine was interrupted. Where Trump was interrupting Hillary last Monday, Kaine was interrupting a lot. And Pence, when he interrupted, felt like he was interrupting because he honestly disagrees. He's interrupting because he feels slighted. And there were times like he was wrong in his defense of Trump, but he felt slighted. He felt things were being said wrong. Most of the time, when Kaine was interrupting, he was very calculating. And say what you will, he was more like master debater, which you say that too fast can come off poorly. He was a master debater, and Pence was more of a sincere, empathetic person. Probably maybe the most empathy of all four of them. And again, master debater, yes, master debater, not master the baiter. Never mind. So again, I don't love Mike Pence as a politician. I don't support a lot of Mike Pence's stances on things. But again, if Mike Pence was the Republican nominee versus Hillary Clinton, I would feel more comfortable going after the Gary Johnson vote the way I did for Ross Perot in the 90s, because I think the outcome would mean less. I think the outcome of Donald Trump is such a horrible idea. Except, like I've said many times, one of the reasons that keeps me going back to Hillary, that's my left. This Congress, with any Republican, is going to be so radically drawing this country back in time, drawing this country so radically to the right. We're just starting to make progress on equality and civil rights. We had civil rights laws from the 60s. We're just now kind of getting to a point where most people feel like they're benefiting from them. Despite the Black Lives Matter, despite Blue Lives Matter, I don't think any more people are getting shot by cops than ever. We just have cameras now. We know about it. There are no more bad cops. I think there are fewer bad cops among us. It's not the 70s where everybody's on the take, right? There's less mafia influence, there's less gang influence, yada, yada, yada. A lot of that's been taken down, but, there's still individuals, and there's still the blue wall of silence at times. Charlotte seems very, very fishy. A less than perfect situation being dismissed by the department way too easily. Not saying anybody did anything. I'm just saying everything I've seen about Charlotte. Compared to Oklahoma was a open shut case pretty much. Everything I've seen about Charlotte, and I'm going off case, but all that being said, I don't think this country can afford Donald Trump with this Congress. And unless you're so far right that you just want that you want to go back in time. Because there are many of you out there that do want that. Want to go back in time, want to go back to a point where white power was respected. Right? Get out the old cross of gold speech, William Jennings Bryan. Yay. And let me close with that. I am a huge fan of Inherit the Wind, the play. Movie's pretty good. Spencer Tracy, right? Matthew Harrison Brady representing William Jennings Bryan and the Scopies monkey trial. And my biggest inspiration, literary character of all time, is Henry Drummond from Inherit the Wind, who turns out to be a serious Bible quoter at the end of the play, but the entire time is saying pretty much what Tim Kaine just said. I am pro-life, but I'm not. I'm not pro-abortion, but I'm not pro-life. Politically, I'm pro-choice politically, and I think that's not necessarily what they were saying in Inherit the Wind. They were saying this guy wants the right to think. Why did God give us the ability to think? You know, what's up with this evolution stuff? And we've got people in this country that think evolution is bunk. We got people in this country that think a lot of science is bunk. And I'm just too smart to say, I'm sorry. The science is science. Science is not always perfect. There is science that is perpetrated, or things that pseudoscience. But more often, the pseudoscience is used to defend the extreme right-wing crazy crap, right? Sometimes pseudoscience is used to sell you some pills that might keep your penis bigger longer. Sometimes it works, you know. Now there are pills that do that, but a lot of pseudoscience, I'm not talking about the legitimate ones, but the ones that they're advertising like on Facebook and Twitter and other places, you know, on LinkedIn and, you know, the social media. Hey, have you tried these pills? Blah, blah, blah. And YouTube and whatnot. Oh, you got to watch this video. These pills will save your life. The snake oil salespeople, right? The pseudoscience. I just believe I am a math science guy at first. I'm a logic guy. I'm sorry. I just understand logic. There's a small percentage of us, you know, there are fewer people that really understand logic in this world that have the intelligence to understand the logic that I'm talking about. There are fewer of those than there are actual racists in America. And I think that's part of the problem. It's not so much that there's so many racists in America, it's that there's too many people that really don't get it. You're not dumb. You may be undereducated. You may have been failed by the education system, blah, 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 blah. You don't get it on both sides, left and right, both sides. And so all you can do is regurgitate. But what gets me is when there are people that I know, that I love and respect, that are very intelligent, that are just lazy. They are more than intelligent enough to figure it out on their own. And I'm not saying we would come to the same outcome. I would respect their beliefs if it wasn't just the same regurgitation. And that's what drives me nuts on either side. And that's why I am angry in the middle, not left, not right, idealistically centrist for life. Guys, we'll see you next time. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm sure Trump's going to be tweeting all night long, and we'll have plenty of things to talk about. I just don't know what they are yet. But hey, it's been fun. Not tonight, but I'm sure at some point it's been fun. I'm going to bed because I am so exhausted. This nothing has put me to sleep than watching white people sit down. And I don't want to sound like I am, biased to my own race. You know, like the cop in Charleston. No, I'm kidding. Hey, have a good night, guys.